The first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community Affairs, Rebecca Kadaga, was recently honored with the prestigious Africa Women's Good Governance Award for her exemplary leadership. In an interview with New Vision TV, the Kamali woman Member of Parliament and former Speaker of Parliament opens up on life and the impending battle for the Central Executive Committee position within the ruling National Resistance Movement.
I just found myself invited. Actually, when they first wrote to me, I didn't take it seriously because in the world there are so many people who do scams. So I said I just put aside for the time being. Then they wrote another letter. Then they wrote a third one. Then I responded, and they said, we are inviting you to confer on you an award. We have covered your background, we've covered your journey, and we think you deserve this award. So I said, okay, let me come. But when I got to Morocco, I found that this was the third edition. The first one, they gave an award to the former president of Botswana, Ian Seretse Kama. They also honored you, Mr. Lumumba, you know, Professor Patrick Lumumba, the famous Lumumba. They also honored Mr. John Dramani, the president of Ghana now, and they gave it to him just before the elections. He got the humanitarian award. So there are a number of people who they have identified throughout the world whom they have given this honor. So it's very big. It's the first time, the first Ugandan in my category to get the Good Governance Award. There's another lady who got I think a humanitarian award, Victoria Namusina Rongo. I found her there. She was also there. But this is the first time that Uganda has got the Africa Governance Award. As part of this celebration, part of the award has to do with my work in the Federation of Women Lawyers, or the FIDA Uganda, because that is where really my public life began. When I and my colleagues established the first legal aid service in this country. Before, even now, there's only one of the Law Society and the one of FIDA and a few others, but we were the first in 1988. It was again a very bold step because it was new in the country. We had no resources, but we had passion and commitment. And we started in a very small room in the Odium House then. It was the headquarters of the National Council of Women. And the room was actually leaking. Mrs. Nekion, we are very grateful to her. She was the chair of the National Council of Women. She said, I'll give you a room to sit, but the build is not very good. But, we put there a bucket. So every day water was dropping, rain was dropping in that bucket, but we were sitting here and doing our work. It was mainly established to help the ordinary women who cannot afford lawyers, who don't understand the law. They were being cheated in estates of their husbands, they were being cheated in business, they were being cheated on land and so on. So I said, but why don't we help these people? We have the knowledge, why don't we use it? So that's how the FIDA Legal Aid Service began. And it's still a big name in the country. It's been running all this time. And at some time we had even branches in the districts, but after some time it ended because we had lacked funding. But now it is self-sustaining. So that work is something I'm very, very proud of, very, very proud indeed. Then I have also been on the campaign for women's emancipation, not only Uganda, but when I was in the Speaker of Parliament, even as a Deputy Speaker, I was given a responsibility to chair the Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians, Africa region. And we did a survey of all the countries in the Africa region, first Africa and then the rest of the Commonwealth, to identify the countries that have gaps. So one of the, again, bold things I did was to draft a strategy whereby every year we identify the countries that are going for elections ahead of time and say, this one's, their representation is not good. Let us go and visit that country. We go to that country. If we can find the president, we talk to him. If we can find the party leaders, we talk to them and say, please, you have to do ABCD. You must ensure that the women are represented. If you need to amend the constitution, you have to amend it. We did it in Nigeria, we did it in Ghana, we did it in so many countries. We did it in Kenya, and I'm proud that things have picked up. The representation has changed now. Also, when I became the international chairperson, I also now worked on the areas of the Pacific, and others. We went to them to visit and encourage. We'd go and talk to all the leaders there when we go. Tell them this is not right, this is part of your community. Find a way for getting them involved in leadership. So that is work I'm very proud of. And equally within the IPU, there were very few women speakers in the world, but one of my other campaigns was to ensure that women become speakers in many countries. And by the time I left, we'd had a speaker in Syria, woman speaker in Syria, woman speaker in Uganda, Emirates, you can imagine, the Arab country, and a few others. So all this was a big campaign and it went on for a long time. So again, something I'm very proud of. Then locally, I've been engaged in a girl emancipation. I've got in my constituency, I have a trust fund for educating young girls who are brilliant but poor. So I've got now thousands who have graduated. And then I had a special interest in the campaign against FGM. So for the last 20 years, every year I go to Kapchora to campaign against FGM. So we've had good success in Kapchora itself, a bit of success in Kwen. Buko is still a problem, but we've been campaigning. The same thing in Amudat, same thing in Kapchora. I've been to all those places to go and campaign. I even had Very Karoro Kurut wrote a book, I forget the title, but I bought those books and I would go and give them to the leaders there and give them to the boys to say, you boys protect your sisters, don't allow them to be circumcised. So that campaign was going on for a long time. So that's another thing I'm also proud of. This is part of, again, of the journey. These are the things that they looked at in order to give me this award. I'm a girl guide, and I started as a brownie. And you grow first as a brownie, then you become a girl guide, and so on. So there are things they teach you during scouting and guiding, which help you to focus in your life. And then I also was inspired by a number of people. One of my heroes is Che Guevara. I don't know if you know about him. He was someone from a very rich Argentinian family, but left all that wealth to go and fight for the rest of the poor in Bolivia. And that's where he eventually died. But him and others like Golda Meir and so on have inspired me to focus on service and to ensure that you take into account the welfare of the people. We've done fairly well because when we first joined, the what is called the resistance councils in the 1980s, where we had a government of 9 people and there was only 1 woman. And at that time, it was even difficult to convince women to be on that committee. But now we have women who are chairpersons of LC5, chairpersons of LC3, they are chairpersons of districts. So things have changed. And also in the parliamentary space, the Constitution dictates that every district shall have 1 woman representative. So at least there must be 1 from every district. And then within the local governments, I think that local governments are doing better. They have, I think, more women representation than we have at our level. But overall, I think things are improving. In the education sector, things have picked up, especially at the university level. Nowadays, at graduation level, now women are at least more than 52% more than the men graduating. So at least over the last few years, something has changed from the original picture where you find 100 men and 2 women graduating. Now it has changed. So to that extent, things have changed. In the business world, the corporate world, we have a few CEOs who are women. The banking sector, we also have a few who are there. The judiciary, things have also picked up. The numbers have increased. So we are progressively moving. We are not doing as well as Rwanda. Rwanda is still the leading in the world, but we are getting there. I don't know whether I would be blowing our own trumpet, but I think within the community, we are the leaders in the drive for integration. Because for us, we are fully committed. Some of our friends are 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but for us, we have gone all the way. So I think we are really the leaders on the issue of integration as Uganda. We are very committed, fully committed, to ensure that the customs union is working, the common market protocol is working. We want the monetary union in place tomorrow. We want the political federation. So we are focused. have every intention of standing. Yes. The Central Executive Committee is a top organ of the party, and it's supposed to give direction to the government on what to do, what programs to pass, and so on. So it's really like a think tank of the party, which now passes on the thoughts to the government to make sure that they're implemented. So it is the cooking place for government policies, legislation, and so on. When you are new, it's true you get excited, but one needs to settle down and listen. When I first came to the NRC, I wasn't talking every day. I would first listen and see how do people present themselves, how do their research, and I would never speak until I'm ready on the subject. Not just speak because I want to be seen, but I would make sure my points are there. I've written them down, and then I speak, and nobody can fault me. So but you'll be focused on the subject. You know, you'll be focused on what you have, not just for noise making. No, or to attract the media attention. That's why you have names in that parliament who said so and so has spoken. You know that person has done his research or her research. Yes, you know them. Yeah. Ndikwenda kusaba abaana abato nti mutapapa bwobanga olina kyolikwenda okufuna obe focused ku nsonga okuba tubanja kuba musomesa wetegeze amasomo g'olina okusoma kuba omusomesa bwolikwenda musa wetegeze amasomo ago ogateeko isira oba oyenda kuba lawyer wetegeze ebyetagisa oteeko isira ate ofocusinge osome obibite oida kubona nga otokayonja. For all both men and women, I think that you have to be focused. You know, I decided to be a lawyer when I was still in primary school. That's when I made the decision to be a lawyer, when I was in primary school. But also I had the influence of my father, who was working in the Ministry of Justice. So he would come home and tell us stories. Today there was this case, this is what happened, there was the judge who said this and this. So I took an interest. So before I left P7, I wanted to be a lawyer. And I worked until I got it. So I think that for the young people, it is possible if you focus and stay the course.
New Vision TV. Stream smart, stream New Vision.